Hi everybody, welcome to week 5, the very last week of this class. It's been a great, very whirlwind class, and I've really enjoyed our time together so far. This last week, if we scroll down from the home page and click on week 5, you'll see that this week we're focusing on 2 separate topics. The one is women's rights, and the other one is LGBTQ rights. So lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, and queer, and questioning individuals as rights. So these are 2 very important topics that are again in the spotlight quite often, both politically and socially speaking. So again, very important to touch on both of these issues as we finish out this class. Since there are 2 separate topics that we're talking about, you will have to review materials about each of these topics. So if we look first here under the women's rights materials, you'll see that I'm asking you to review a video by Jimmy Carter. It's actually a TED Talk on women's rights and specifically on the abuse of women. And then also a video entitled She's Beautiful When She's Angry. The TED Talk is only about 16 minutes. However, She's Beautiful When She's Angry is about an hour and a half. So again, keep that in mind. Then for the women's rights component of this week, I also want you to read 2 articles. One is on gender inequality, and one is Women in the World, where the U.S. Might differ from other countries in terms of equality. And then for women's rights, there's also 1 PowerPoint for you to review. Then for the LGBTQ rights materials, there is 1 PowerPoint. There are 3 videos. One is the Stonewall Uprising documentary. One is a Joel Burns City Council testimony, and one is a TED Talk. Again, please keep in mind that these videos will take up at least 2 hours of your time just to review those materials for the LGBTQ rights. Then there are 2 articles for LGBTQ rights, and then finally an NPR interview that I'm asking you to listen to. It is only, it's just under 10 minutes long. Based on all of these materials, for women's rights and LGBTQ rights, I'm asking you to complete 1 discussion board and 2 quizzes. So there is a quiz specifically on the women's rights materials, and there is a separate quiz specifically about LGBTQ rights. Each of these quizzes is 6 questions long, multiple choice true false, and as always, it is not timed. You only have 1 attempt, but you can take as much time as you need. So again, 2 quizzes this week, 1 on women's rights, 1 on LGBTQ rights. And then there's 1 discussion board, and within that discussion board, you will be asked to answer questions about LGBTQ rights and about women's rights. Again, with the discussion board, make sure to include enough detail to show me that you have actually reviewed all of the documents. Don't be too brief because it prevents me from seeing what you've learned, and that's ultimately my goal here. Then aside from these 3 assignments that are based on this week's materials, your final project is also due this week. Hopefully you've been working on this final project throughout this 5-week course. Again, this final project requires you to conduct a food drive for our on-campus pantry, which is Fuel NKU. I'm going to go ahead and click on this final project. So again, this assignment is worth 10 points toward your final grade, so 10 percentage points. I want you to answer each of these 7 questions in this discussion board post. It has to be completed by Friday. All assignments this week are due by Friday, 8/10 at midnight at 11:59 p.m. I want you to tell me what items did you try to collect? What was your strategy for collecting those items? So did you use a flyer at your kids' school or at your place of worship, your kids' daycare? Did you use more of an online strategy using social media? So what was your strategy? Where, from whom, and when did you collect food or items? What and how many items did you actually collect? On what date did you deliver the items to Fuel NKU? What could you have done differently? What did you learn from this experience? And then I want you to add in a picture of you dropping off your items at Fuel or at another agency. This picture is essential to you receiving a grade for this class because it shows me that you actually completed it. It shows me that you donated the items to the agency. Again, the goal for this assignment is for you to do a food drive for Fueling KU, but as I mentioned at the beginning of this class, if you live too far away from campus and you would rather do a donation drive for a local food pantry that's closer to your home, you're certainly welcome to do that. Please just clear that with me first. So if you want to donate it elsewhere, please send me an email with the agency that you would like to donate it to, so that I can make sure that it's something that works for this class. Again, hopefully you've been working on this assignment throughout these 5 weeks. But if you have not, then definitely you need to get on it right now, because this takes time. And for those of you that are in the midst of this, you know that by now, that doing a donation drive can take a considerable amount of time. So again, your food drive is due this Friday by 11:59 p.m. I'm also just going to show you real quick, if we go back down, your discussion board for this week is right here. Again, you will have 2 questions about women's rights and 2 questions about LGBTQ rights. Again, this assignment is due by Friday, not Sunday. It is due by Friday, 8/10 at 11:59 p.m. And the same is true with the 2 quizzes for this week. If I go back home and go back to week 5, I'll show you real quick. So if we scroll on down and we go to the quiz 1 on women's rights, you will see that the quiz is worth 9 points again. There is no time limit as usual. It's 6 questions, multiple choice, true, false. And again, it is due by Friday, 8/10, which is, of course, this Friday. And then finally, I'll do the same thing with the quiz on LGBTQ. So again, 9 points, 6 questions, not timed. You have as much time as you need, but you only get 1 attempt. And it is also due by Friday of this week at 11:59 p.m. Okay, well that is all from me for now. Again, I'm looking forward to reading your assignments as we progress through this week. If you have any questions at all, then don't hesitate to shoot me an email, and I'd be happy to respond to you, again, within 24 hours at most. And of course, as always, if you need to schedule an individual meeting with me, I am happy to do so. Have a great week. This is the very last week, so let's make it the best one yet. Yeah, I'm looking forward to reading your materials. Bye.